Welcome to Hey Jay, where I never know how to pronounce monster names out loud. Is it Seregios? We're gonna call him Steve. Welcome back, classy crew, to another Monster Hunter journal where I journey through Rise and Sunbreak to complete every quest. That's right, and I'm gonna do them all solo. And the rule is, for the high rank stuff that I missed, like the emergencies and all that, I will not use any master rank gear so that I can experience what I missed out while I was busy traveling in the wonderful world of Monster Hunter 3U, which I gotta call it out for those who missed some announcements. Yes, there are 3 monsters remaining in 3U just waiting for me, being like, your pledge is incomplete. I will get back to those, but right now I'm busy swinging around Elgato, having some good time, getting kicked in the face by Seregios. This boy hurts, kicked the soul out of my existence. I loved it. It was such a thrilling experience. I haven't been on my toes like that in a while, and it was so good to find a fresh face to humble me, because right before him came Astalos. And, you know, for one of the Fated 4s, I was expecting a little bit more, but Astalos was kind of he was terrifying. We're going to talk about it. He was a little bit of a pushover because I didn't cart. And Seregios, I was like, oh, okay, we're going to hurt you. We're going to play around with you. Oh, this is easy. And then bam, freaking kick to the camp. So he did cart me. And after that, though, I laid down some heavy punishment on him. So I punished Seregios. But we're going to save the good stuff for the end, because let me walk you through. The way we do this is I do the journal, and you have to have a chronological story so it makes sense, because I'm a hunter who used to not want to be a hunter, who hated this franchise. I hated it, believe it or not. Some of you remember. And now here I am, and I am enjoying being punished. It's kind of funny. Maybe it's just the true self of me that is manifesting itself through Monster Hunter. Maybe we just all like punishment. Maybe that's what brings us together here. It's not the monsters we hunted along the way. It's not the friends we made along the way. It's the pain. The pain is the real friend we made along the way. So anyways, as you might notice by the footage, I have made a new armor set. I was getting a little bit tired of having these like really big like blue flaps on my thighs. I'm not about that. I like to show my thighs a little bit. And so I was like, all right, we got to go shop for some new armor. I say that we're the classy crew and keep it classy. And here I am looking like an Arzuros. And so I went to the shop and I got myself some new armor. And the best part about it, it's got a cape. I know capes are completely useless, but man, they look good. They've flown the wind. This one's regal. And the best part about this armor set, look at the switch axe on my back. It matches. I've got coordination. I'm turning into a stylist. Well, maybe not. But anyways, I think this is the Damascus set, which is a little sad because I don't think you actually have to hunt anything to get it. But I don't care. It looks good. I've removed the thing on my the helm. I actually am wearing an eye patch. But in the end, I was like, you know what? I don't really need to see an eye patch. So going with the rest of the thing, and it matches the switch axe. So I look really good, and I'm excited for that. Next up, I started hacking away at the followers quest because I realized, wait a minute, there is a story going on here with the NPCs. I should not leave this to the end of the game after I have finished the story. I should develop my bond with my NPCs and get to know them. And so I got to know Luchika. I didn't know who she was before. I went on another date with Fiorane, and I saw a little selfish side of her this time. You know, at one point, the Arzuros was ready to ride, and she's like, you can ride him. I was like, oh, thank you, Fiorane. And I was putting away my switch axe to jump on the Arzuros, and she jumped on it. She's like, well, screw you, you're taking too long. She didn't even run off with the bear. She rammed the bear in the wall. She didn't even use the bear efficiently. So my respect for Fiorane, Dame Fiorane, has gone down a little bit. I looked highly up to her. She had a lot going for her, and I held back a comment. We're not going to make those comments here. Also, we got some time with Jay. Not this Jay, but there's a worse Jay. Believe it or not, there's cringy Jay, and then there's the cringiest of Jays. It's like Dumb and Dumber, cringe and cringer. So I hung out with Cringer, and man, this boy's annoying. He's full of enthusiasm, so I can respect the enthusiasm. We went out and we hunted a Barioth together, and he's just... honestly though, his weapon is cool. How he fights is actually pretty good. It would just be great if he just didn't talk. That's all I want. And then Luchika, I have to say, I didn't know much about her. She's this lady with in purple that's just kind of like sulking by the general. So I didn't really knew much about her. Within the first minute of her quest, we set out, and she let out like the cutest giggle. And honestly, upon reflection, after the whole Fiorane fiasco, I am full of alliterations today. I love it. Luchika is so adorable. That freaking laugh just melted me. I'm like, okay, I will hunt with you forever. And then I learned she doesn't heal. And so it was the first time I had a follower where she's just laying on the ground being like, I'm done. I was like, what the hell are you doing? We were fighting a Ludroth, a royal Ludroth, and she just didn't heal herself. She just let herself go. So I had to walk up to her, give her a little pat on the head so that we would continue fighting. And off she went shooting things like a maniac. So these followers have pros and cons. And I guess it's just like the real world. You know, you can like something about someone, but then you can be like, yeah, we can see the bad side. So anyways, next we have unlocked a new move. And I need to come up with a name. I mean, it has a name. It's called the Elemental Burst Counter. Just like the Invasion Sensation has a proper name. It's the Elemental Discharge. But I mean, who goes around going, get ready for the Elemental Discharge? That's just not fun. So anyways, we've finally learned the Elemental Burst Counter. And a lot of you have been talking about this on the journals, being like, I just use the counter all the time. Well, I didn't unlock the counter, so I couldn't use that on the crab or on those other things. But now I can. Unfortunately, it unlocks right when you get introduced to new monsters. So I was so busy with Astalos, I couldn't really pull it off on him because that boy was aggressive and scary. And I'm like, I'm not going to play a new move. I did try, but I didn't succeed. I'm like, okay, maybe now is not the time to try a new move on a new monster that I don't know anything about. I did spend time in training. So I was, I'm like, I got to learn how to use this counter. And it took a while, but I finally understood. You hold your axe. And then when someone's about to hit you, you hit the trigger and then you just go, I don't even know what you do, honestly. You just go, bruh, and then there's like monster numbers everywhere. Literally, I don't even know where the axe goes, but damage is manifested everywhere. So Astalos, I was looking forward to this guy. I like his design. I like the color. And man, he was intimidating. He had lightning everywhere. And the worst move is when he shoots out like these vertical lightning lines and then they split and then they split. I don't know how to predict those. Sometimes they split this way, sometimes they split this way. I haven't seen a pattern. And it seems like he always does it in front of him. So my strategy is book it, get through the field of vertical lightning, and I should be fine because it always kind of spreads outward. So as long as you are behind that, you should be fine. It was in the jungle, so it was great because I learned that there's some spots where you can drop boulders when they're there. I got all 3 boulders down on Astalos, so it was a really fun fight. I love how he has his crest and then he electrifies that and then he just zaps ever. No, he doesn't even zap it down. He waits to see where you are. So if you're running around, he will go like, oh, I see you, and then zaps. I was able to dodge it. Somehow I was pretty good at telling his tails and dodging most of it. There's one where he puts his tail in the ground and then he does like a big zap force field. Didn't get hit by that. Didn't cart, but I was playing very defensively because he was so aggressive, so terrifying. I was like, okay, what are you doing? Oh, I can see, I can hit you here. Okay, what are you doing? Okay, I can go ahead and hit you there. But overall, it was just fun. The music was epic. And I was also using some new Palico moves. So I'm trying to unlock all of the Palico's secret moves. And so for this fight, I had the Bomber Palico. So I've always used the Healer Palico because I'm a chump like that. And then now I'm working towards the Bomber Palico. And the Bomber Palico is pretty cool because he's always running around with bombs and just chucking bombs at monsters. I really like that. So while all of that was happening, we were having a good time with Astalos. He fell, and I got a mantle out of that fight, which is even more exciting. And I got to see his armor. I saw it in ugly yellow, but I know it's like a bright green usually. And his skill, he has the unique skill of Chain Crit, which basically builds, if I understand correctly, it builds up damage the more you chain hits. So when I'm going whoosh, whoosh with the switch axe, chain. So I need 3 pieces of Astalos armor to get that skill. So it's a big investment, which kind of throws off the rest of my switch axe build. But I'm really curious to try it out. It looks really interesting to use that. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to build any of the Chain Crit armor pieces. I did build an Astalos thigh thing, and that's underneath my layered armor. It doesn't do, I think it gave me power prolonger like right out the gate or something. So my skill stuff's getting pretty good. I'm like at full rapid morph, full power prolonger, evade window, evade extent. Like I'm getting pretty good. And I've got some lightning buffs. I got lightning +2 in terms of decoration, so my axe gets a buff, which might explain why freaking Steve died so fast. So Steve, yes, he kicked the soul out of my body. Yes, he humbled me. Yes, he scared me a little. And this boy's aggressive, but once after the first cart, I realized he's kind of a one-trick pony. He just kicks you. Just dodge the kick. I mean, you could say that about all the attacks. Just dodge the attack. You won't get hit. But for the most part, he barely caused me to bleed, unlike freaking Shogun Senator or whatever his name is. And yeah, he was just kicking. So I'm like, dodge the kick, dodge the kick. It usually comes in 2. He usually kicks twice. And then you just smack him. And towards the end of the fight, he was just like really exhausted and not moving. I was like, what are you doing? Smash, 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 smash. And I was just smashing him. And he's weak to lightning, I learned afterwards. So I had the elemental advantage, and I saw some people, I mentioned this on Twitter. I'm like, oh, you died kind of fast. It was weird. I don't think it's my skill. And people said he has 10,000 less HP than most monsters. I didn't validate that. So I think all of that combined, the general consensus seems to be he's a glass cannon, which I can vouch for, being on the receiving end of his toes. So very cool monster, very different to have such ferocity and power, but so little defense. It was an interesting combination. So that's where I'm at. Master rank 4. We're right in the midst of it. I think, yeah, there's no other. Oh, the next one is the Magma Almudron. That is the next subspecies that I will be fighting the next stream. And then I will be unlocking Master rank 5, assuming there is one. Of course there's one. And I'm assuming Malzeno is going to show up soon. Or another emergency. But I'm pretty sure it's Malzeno because we've done 2 of the 3 lords so far. So it should get pretty interesting, pretty intense soon. The story, we've got Fiorane, who's out of commission. She's got an infection of some kind, and I got this nice doctor. That's why we went out into the jungle to fight Astalos, because we're looking for a doctor to heal Fiorane. So he's there, he's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing, learning new moves, killing monsters. And soon we're going to face up with Malzeno. And I did not fight him in the demo. I didn't even download the demo. So we're going to find out what he's all about. And otherwise, I will see you either on the next journal, the next stream. And until next time, kick to the fit. No, sorry. Keep it classy. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do. Subscribe.